I'm 81 years old, and I'm going to say something most people are too polite, too uncomfortable, or too afraid to admit. People assume that when you reach your 80s, your greatest fear is death, the final curtain call. They imagine we lie awake at night, trembling at the thought of the end. But that's not the truth. The hardest part growing older isn't dying. It's disappearing while you're still breathing. It's walking through your own life and feeling like a ghost. You go to the grocery store, you sit at family gatherings, you attend church, and yet somehow you feel erased. People look through you instead of at you. You become part of the background, like an old photograph on the wall that everyone has seen so many times they've stopped noticing it's there. I remember the first time I felt it clearly. I was at a family gathering, surrounded by laughter, food, and the chaos of grandchildren running around. I was sitting in my usual chair, listening to conversations swirl around me. I had stories to tell, jokes to share, memories no one else carried. Yet people spoke about me instead of to me. Is Grandpa tired? Does Grandpa want tea? I was alive, present, breathing, but somehow no longer visible. That realization hit me like lightning. I wanted to shout that I was still here, still thinking, still full of fire. But instead, I sat quietly, holding my cup, feeling the weight of invisibility settle in. It hurts because for most of our lives, our identity was tied to usefulness. We were the providers, the problem solvers, the experts, the steady hands. Our worth was measured by what we could produce and how much we could do. Then one day, the body slows down, the career becomes a memory, and the children build lives of their own. When you can no longer do the way you once did, you are forced to simply be. And after decades of motion and responsibility, just being can feel like failure. Many of us try to fight it. We stay busy with meaningless tasks, chase trends, argue loudly about politics, or try to dress and act decades younger. We try to reclaim the spotlight, to rewrite earlier chapters of our story. But if you're 80 and trying to be 50, you're failing at being 80. And being 80 requires a different kind of courage altogether. The shift came for me last Tuesday around 4 p.m, the loneliest hour of my day. The sun was lowering. The house felt especially quiet, and I had just hung up the phone with my grandson, who sounded loving but rushed. I felt invisible again. But instead of turning on the television to drown out the silence, I sat with it. I looked at my hands and realized something profound. If no one is watching me anymore, I am finally free to truly observe everything else. For most of my life, I was performing, trying to be successful enough, good enough, strong enough. Even in retirement, I was playing the role of the active senior. But invisibility, I discovered, is freedom. When the world stops expecting you to lead the parade, you can finally hear the music. I began noticing things I had always been too busy to see. The way dust dances in a beam of afternoon light, the golden shade the oak tree turns just before sunset, the subtle tremor in a friend's voice that reveals unspoken pain. When you stop craving attention for your usefulness and begin embracing your significance, something changes. Usefulness is about what you produce. Significance is about who you are. No one teaches us how to step back gracefully, how to release ambition and ego without bitterness. But when you do, the heavy backpack of needing to matter falls away. You no longer have to win arguments, prove your worth, or demand attention. You gain clarity. You see the world's beauty, tragedy, and comedy with perspective only time can give. So, what do we do with this invisibility? We become witnesses. We become steady, quiet lights in a frantic world. If your family overlooks you, stop fighting to be heard. Stop giving advice they didn't ask for. Instead, sit with them in love. They may not notice your silence now, but one day, when they sit in their own quiet homes, they will remember the peace you carried. They won't remember your job title or your achievements. They will remember how it felt to be in a room with someone who wanted nothing from them, someone who was simply present. The hardest part of aging isn't dying, it's disappearing. But the most beautiful discovery comes after the spotlight fades. You realize you were never the roles you played. You were never just a provider, the boss, or the fixer. Those were costumes. Beneath them is something deeper, an ancient, wise soul connected to everything. At 81, every sunrise feels like a gift. Every cup of coffee a small miracle. I don't know how many more I'll see, but while I'm here, I'll keep speaking because I know there are others sitting quietly in their own chairs, feeling the same silence. If you've been mourning who you used to be, I invite you to sit on this porch with me. Reclaim your visibility in your own heart. Take a deep breath. Feel the air in your lungs, the same air you breathed decades ago. You are still here. You are still significant. And this chapter of your life, the quiet, reflective, deeply meaningful chapter, may be the one that matters most of all.